Hi there. In this video we're going to cover linking the fmESignature link DocuSign Edition FileMaker solution to an existing FileMaker solution that you already are using, and this is to enable you to send requests from our solution to a contact in your solution. So the idea is when we click on contacts, we'll see all the contacts in your solution and be able to generate a request to them. This is part one of a two-part series. In part two we're going to cover some additional linking steps which involve generating a PDF from your existing solution and using that as the PDF that's sent to DocuSign through the request. So to get started, we're going to use the Claris Contact Starter solution that comes with every copy of FileMaker, and the way you generate that is just by going to the File menu, creating a new file and choosing the Contact Starter file, and you'll get a file that looks like this. To save time, I've already created one of those and imported some data just to give us some data to play with. So if we go and open up my contacts file that I've already created, you can see I've got 50 records in here, and each of those records has a company name, it's got some agreement details which we'll use in part two, and it's got a mobile phone, email, and address details as well. I've made a few small changes to this file. I've created a new layout that we'll use in the part two video, and I've also added a handful of fields. The only one that's relevant to this demonstration is the this KZ mobile C field, this unstored calculation that just stores the word mobile as a text string. That's going to be used to help us target the mobile phone numbers, because all the phone numbers are in a table, and depending on if you're using the SMS delivery notifications, you might need to be targeting that as well. So if not, you can just ignore that, but we'll cover that just so we cover all the bases. So let's get started. We've got our contacts file, which is our existing FileMaker solution that we want to link to the fmESignature link file. So let's get started. So first step is make sure you put both files in the same folder, or upload them to the same folder on your FileMaker server. That just keeps things simple. Make a backup of everything obviously before you start as well. So step one is to create a data source, external data source link or file reference to your file. So from the fmESignature link file, so we go to the File, Manage, External Data Sources. This is blank, so we're just going to create a new one, and we're going to click Add File, and you're going to select either your hosted file or the file on your local drive, depending on where you're working from. So here's my contacts file, and it's just got the straightforward file contacts reference. So we click OK. So now we can create links to our existing FileMaker solution. So the next step is to go into the Manage Database, go into the Relationships graph, and we want to basically change all these red ones, which are the contacts table occurrences, and change them from pointing to our local contacts table, which is this one here, which has everything in the one file, in the one table, so contact names, email addresses, and phone numbers, to the equivalent tables in your solution, in which in our example is the contact starter solution. So let's go to relationships, and basically we're going to go to contacts. I'll just make this a bit bigger, and we need to create a we need to change it from the contacts table in the current file to our new contacts external data source, and they have the same name, so they might be different in your solution, so that's fine. So then we just choose contacts, and the first time you do this, you get the standard FileMaker prompt to authorize access to the file. So you need to be obviously logged in with a full access file in both to do this. So you just say yes. Now I need to choose the equivalent table in my solution for this relationship, and that's just going to be the parent or the main contacts table. Now the table occurrence name hasn't changed, so that's fine, but it will change as we go through this. So that breaks all the relationships. So first thing I need to do is just fix that. So if you need to make a note of what the relationship field predicates were, basically in this case it's just the primary key to the foreign key. So in my solution, the primary key is, or in the FileMaker solution, is a field called primary key, and we just click change, and that one's done. So now I can just quickly move through all the other contacts table occurrences, which is the red ones, which is just going to be these other two ones here. So let's go and fix this one. So I'm going to copy and paste, or I'm going to copy the table occurrence name of the clipboard, because that's going to break when I choose my new table occurrence here. So contacts. So to save things from breaking even further, I'm just going to paste back in the equivalent name. Now I sort of know this off the top of my head, but you'll need to have a look at this and see what the fields were in your solution and work out what the equivalent is going to be. In this case, it's just looking for a full name field, which is already in the FileMaker solution, which makes life easy. So once again, I can say, oops, change that and hit OK. So that one's done. And this one is just foreign key to primary key as well. So I'll double click on this, copy the name to the clipboard, change it to my external data source, choose contacts, paste that in and save it. And once again, I just need to go in and fix this up. So that's going to be foreign key to primary key once again. Okay, so that fixes that. There's a few other missing pieces that we need to address, mainly to do with how in the contacts table in our solution that has everything in the one table, including name, company name, email address, and any phone numbers. In the FileMaker contact solution, everything, some of the data is in separate tables. So you'll see that if we double click on this table occurrence, there's other tables for addresses, email addresses, and phone numbers. So let's go and create some new relationships for those. So I'm just going to create a new table occurrence from my solution, and I'll get addresses. And I need to create a link to contacts. So that's going to be primary key to foreign key. And don't need to make this perfectly tidy right now. And I'll just come back and create another one. So we want email addresses. Okay. And once again, that's just going to use the same relationships in the actual starter solution itself, which is primary key. Oops, I chose the wrong one there, did I? No, that's right. Primary key to foreign key, sorry. So that should be foreign key. Okay, so I can access or view the addresses and the email addresses from the contacts table. Now, this one's a bit tricky. This one over, these two over here are relating to if you're using the SMS delivery notification and you need to work out what country the user is in order to get the country code to send the number in the international format, which is required. So I'm going to create a couple of new table occurrences over here. I'm going to create one called addresses, because that's where the country field is. So I'll just duplicate my addresses one, and we'll put that here. And just to follow sort of the naming convention that I use, we'll just paste that in the front. So that's going to be request contacts addresses. And that's going to be primary key to foreign key. And request contacts filter mobile phone I've got. And now I need to get the one that joins the phone number to this as well. Now this one I need to actually break. There's no relationship from the contacts to the countries. That sort of goes via the addresses one. So I'm going to break that relationship and fix that by joining it to this one, and that's just going to be matching on the country field, which is in the addresses table in the Cloud solution. So I'll just tie that up a little bit. Great. Okay, I need one more. Once again, just solely related to SMS delivery notification. So you can ignore this if you're not using that, but it's related to getting the phone number for the contact, or the mobile phone number for the contact. So I'm going to choose the phone numbers table, and I'll just position this here for the moment, and we need to join it to this one here. So this one's going to be it's going to involve a couple actually, because the phone numbers table is a multi-purpose table that stores all phone numbers, not just mobile phone numbers. So we need to start off by just getting the primary key to the foreign key, and this is where that new field comes into play that I mentioned at the top of the video. I need to say also match on the type of number, and in this case I just want to target the mobile number. So we're matching on primary key to foreign key, the word mobile to the value in the type field, and we'll click OK. And just to keep the naming convention equivalent, I'm going to change this, and I'm just going to call it mobile phone, just to make it explicit that that's just targeting the mobile phone number. Okay, and we can type this all up later. So I think that's everything I need. Now everything's sort of broken in terms of any layouts that we're looking at the contacts table occurrence. So you'll see straight away when I go to the list view, I'm now seeing my 50 records, which corresponds to the 50 records that I'm seeing over here, and they'll be in the same order if they're not sorted. And now I need to just go and repoint these fields because they're all missing, because it doesn't know which ones to use, and that's going to miss the same on any other contacts layout. So there's only a couple of these layouts that I need to fix. So contact ID, I'll just make this bigger, is going to be the primary key field in the FileMaker file. First name is first name, last name is last name. Email is going to come from the related email addresses table. And in this example, just to keep things simple, I'm going to choose the first email address. If you had more than one email address or a main email address, you could add another predicate to the relationship to target the primary email address or as required. This one's just going to be company, and country isn't relevant because it comes from the related addresses table. So I'm just going to delete that because I don't need that on this layout. So that's fixed that. So straight away I can see all my 50 contacts straight away. So now if I go into the contact details screen, once again all these fields are missing, so I need to go and quickly fix these. So that's primary key, first name, last name, mobile. Don't have one for that, so I'm just going to skip that. Company is that, website is that, and I'll just get the first address from the related addresses table. And once again, if you were using flags to indicate a primary or a main address, you could update your relationship accordingly to get those. So we need city, state, postcode, and country. Okay, and date of birth isn't relevant. That's just an example field that we included to demonstrate working with date fields and DocuSign. So I'll save that, and I'll just delete those two. We don't. Well, actually, I could show. I'll show the email address field. That's just going. We're just once again going to be using the first related email address, and I'm not going to worry about the mobile number for now. So I'll just get rid of that. Okay, so we'll save that. And now we can quickly flick through, and yes, all the data's shown. Just fix my postcode, which is using the default currency formatting, which we do not need. Okay, that looks better. Okay, so let's see what other layouts do we need to fix. So basically anything that references the contacts table occurrence or the request contacts table occurrence. So there'll be another one, and I won't worry about the developer layout. You can fix that in your own time. I do need to fix the add request contacts one. This is where you choose the name of the recipient that you wish to add to your request. So this is just going to be the full name field there, and the email. Maybe I don't have one of them. Okay, so I might have missed that one out, so let's go back and add that in. I did add one in for addresses, but we need another one for email addresses, so we'll go and add that in. Just hide that. So this is going to be request contacts filter email addresses, and that's just going to be primary key to foreign key. And we'll stick that sort of down there for the moment. Okay, so now I can choose that new table occurrence I just created, and that's going to be the address field. Okay, so we'll test that in a minute. The other one we need to fix is on the request layout. I'll just create a new request so we can see it easily, and that's going to be these fields down here on the request contacts sort of joint table. So contact name is going to be full name, email is already set, and I think that's it. Great. Okay, so we need to fix a script as well, which we'll come to shortly. But let's just do some quick tests. So if I go to contacts, I can I'll just find my test contact, which is erase, which has got my email address in, as you can see there. And all looks pretty good. So I'm going to create a new sign request, and so that's another script I need to fix because it doesn't automatically add them. So let me just delete that. If I click add recipient, we can test that this works. If I start typing race, that's working well. So I can click, I need to fix the email, sorry, click add to request. And that's worked out pretty well. Yes, okay, so let's go back to that layout and just see why the email address wasn't showing. Okay, so request contacts filter email addresses, address. I thought that looked pretty good. Chose the wrong field there, sorry. That should be primary key. Foreign key. Okay, that's better. Okay, so that looks good. So let's go back to our request, and we'll delete that. Add a new request. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so we just need to fix the script that's adding those. So let's go and fix that first. So I think it's just called add. So it's not that one, that's the one that opens the window. This is the one that actually adds the selected contact to the request contacts table. You can see here there's some field missing. So FileMaker's got a nice little built-in way of highlighting these just by right-clicking on the script name and choosing check for problems, and anything gets highlighted in red. So we just need to fix these because these are the field references have got broken. So let's just delete the field missing, and that's just going to be the primary key. The email is going to be, it's coming from a slightly different table, so that's request contacts filter. Email addresses, address is the field we're after there. And the phone number, once again, only for SMS delivery notifications, you can ignore, but that's going to be phone or mobile phone. Phone, and the field name is called number. Great. Okay, so I'll delete that and we'll test it again. So add recipient, race, click add to request, and there's race, and there's the email address, and I can ignore the rest. So at this point I think we're looking pretty good. If I was to send that though, I would still get an error message because the script that adds a contact to the JSON payload that gets requested needs to be fixed as well. So that's under the requests folder. It's the DocuSign create and send envelope. Yep, this is the one. And once again, if I right click and go check for problems, this should help highlight these to us pretty quickly. So we can see there's two there, and there's another one here. And luckily for us, the solution or the fix for these is the same, so we can copy and paste them. And basically, it's just doesn't know where to get the name, first name, and the last name from. So let's just go and fix this quickly. So that's going to be first name and last name, because we don't store those in the requests contacts table. We're just grabbing those live as we go. And so I'm just going to copy that line because it's going to be the same fix for the other two positions. So it's just changing that line, pasting that in, going down to my other red line, and updating that line. Okay, so I'm quietly confident. If I just check for problems again, no red lines, so that's good. So let's test this out. Let's choose one of our simple templates, the custom agreement standard, which just goes to one recipient. I've already entered my authentication credentials for my DocuSign account, and I've authenticated and approved consent. So let's go back to my request, and let's click send request and see if it goes out successfully. And fingers crossed it will, because I'm pretty sure we've completed all the tasks we need to do. Okay, so that request was successful. If I go to my email client and check my inbox, there's my request. So that was successful, so that's great. Everything's worked. So yeah, that's how quickly you can link your existing FileMaker solution to the eSignature link file and get up and running, send requests to your contacts, all within the space of sort of 10 or 15 minutes. Obviously depends on the complexity of your solution. So that's it for part one. In part two, we're going to take this a step further, and we're going to generate a PDF from our file using this contract agreement layout, and use that to create a request and send that over to the fmESignature link file. We'll still be sending the request from here, but it's just a further step in the integration in terms of where your PDFs or layouts for your requests are coming from. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for part two.